what's up? This is Odolena from Odolena Digital, and today's video is devoted to digital trends in different markets around the world and different channels. So we'll go through everything. At the end of the video, I'll share with you a special bonus, a comparison between two of the largest markets when it comes to digital trends, India and China. So stay with me. First, let's start with Facebook. So Facebook is one of the largest platforms. It's really popular now with advertisers and it's becoming really competitive. But who is actually on Facebook? Recent studies shows that over 54% of Facebook's users are people above 35-year-olds, so older than me and older maybe many of you comparison. And what's interesting is that most of them are women. There's a bigger chunk of women using Facebook daily, about 70% of women using Facebook daily, whereas there's only about 40-something% men using Facebook daily, which is quite interesting. And when it comes to where they are coming from, let's have a look at the different markets and how they've grew over the time. So if we compare let's say Q3 2012 and Q3 2018, that's quarter three, 6 years ago and now. So let's start with Canada and United States, which is one of the most mature markets. This is where all the Facebook started, and obviously they have a lot of users covered already there. So in 2012 there were 189 million versus 242 million in Q3 2018, which there is a growth, but this is still not the major growth that you would expect. Then Europe has grown from 253 million to 375 million for 6 years, which is also significant. But here the real deal is APAC, Asia Pacific. 277 million versus 917 million, almost a billion people in Asia Pacific, which is really interesting. And this is something that really surprised me when I was looking at this data. So let's imagine Facebook's users right now. The majority, they are likely to be what? Over 35. They're likely to be women if they're using it daily. And they're likely to be from Asia Pacific. So Philippines, Thailand, these are countries where Facebook has had a massive share and massive increase of users over the last 6 years. So super interesting. When it comes to stories, I think stories has been something that a lot of marketers have been struggling with, and also a lot of people in the beginning when just they started appearing. The stories started on Snapchat, but then they got kind of copycatted in Google and in Facebook, and now they are appearing across other channels that are experimenting with them. But what are the stats? So are stories actually worth it? Well, Instagram's data shows that 400 million stories are sent every single day. This is insane. Every day 400 million stories. Advertising within stories is now available. And it's much less saturated than when it comes to the Facebook feed, where actually your space is much more limited. Advertising space within stories is more creative and more interesting, and it's also less saturated. And it's huge. Comparing to Snapchat, which started the stories, it has just 186 million stories shared every day, just. Then you have Facebook stories, 150 million, Messenger stories, 70 million. So this is a very good area that you have to explore if you're a marketer, definitely worth your attention. Then other platforms which are planning or experimenting with stories: YouTube, then LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very interesting platform which has been really changing a lot over the last years. I've been putting a lot of effort into my LinkedIn account. You can check, actually there is a link below. You can see all the content that I've been sharing there. It's actually one of my most successful channels so far. When it comes to stories, another platform which is experimenting with it is Google My Business. So for those of you who are not familiar, this has been on forever. This is actually the free listing that you have as if you're a business on the street. You have a listing on the map of Google Maps which you can claim and you can manage yourself. So right now they are experimenting also with stories for businesses, where if you are a business owner, you can post different stories and this will appear on your profile, especially if for mobile searches. Super interesting area. And then the promise that I wanted to share with you is coming up soon. First, let's have a look at what is the video ad spend trend. I recently talked about the importance of videos in one of my articles, and I think people are still underestimating the power of video material. Recent research has shown that in 2020, 85% of online traffic will be video. This is like next year. This is coming in and this is becoming really, really important. So what about advertising spend? So in 2012 it was 4 billion, 2012 7 billion, 2014 13, 2016 21, 2018 35 billion advertising spend, which compared to overall advertising spend on digital is very, very small. It's about 10%. And if you compare it to overall advertising, which includes TV, which includes printed media, it's tiny. So this is an area which is very important if you are a marketer, if you're looking to reach an audience, actually looking into trends, who is watching what. For example, esports becoming really, really popular with younger people. Esports competition being watched more than any other sport by younger audiences. So these are places where you can actually target these audiences, and video ad spend is nothing compared to what it's going to be in the future when everybody realizes that advertising spend is well spent on video. And now everything that I wanted to share with you about India and China comparison. So when it comes to users, the two countries are huge, but how have they been doing with digital users, internet users? So in 2010, China had almost 500 million users compared to 63 million in India, which is very low compared to the size of the country. Then 2012, again around 584 million China, 122 million. So you can see it almost doubled within 1 year. Then 2014, 649 million in China, 226 million in India, another double. Then 2016, 731 million in China, 347 million in India. And then 2018, 800 million in China, 431 million in India. Still, like, there is almost 50% difference. However, if you compare the percentage within this time frame, China grew by 75%, whereas India grew by 484% of digital users, which is absolutely insane. They grew actually 409 million people from India got online within how many? 8 years. This is incredible. And India is actually one of the growing markets, very interesting when it comes to online usage of online products, production of digital services. It's a really, really interesting country, and I think we have been running with some stereotypes in Europe about India as a market. It's not to be underestimated at all. When it comes to China, it's quite close compared to India. They are not allowed to use Google and Facebook officially. You see that they have their own platform. They are very controlled, whereas India is open to all the platforms that we are using, and advertising in India is allowed. It's a very entrepreneurial country with a lot of production of services, of goods, of internet service. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on in the future, especially if you are looking to target new markets overseas. This is all from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel, like this video if you like it, share it if you want to share it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see something else. You can check my other videos which I've done, reviews of popular online marketing courses, books and other materials. So I'll be back with new content very soon. Until then, see you and have a great week.